I'm making this video from a place of sadness, some disappointment, some empowerment actually, excitement. And I didn't know how to say this, to be honest, but I think it's necessary to put out there, just like I put out all the other stuff, all the other amazing things, and all the other cool stuff that happens. And no one wants to see anything sad often. They want to see something fun. But now this has happened, and this is how what's going on in the reality. Me and Miryana broke up 1 week after I chose to handfast her. And if you follow the other videos, you can see in the videos that we did amazing things. Like I'd never done anything like that before, and I was really sure. But at some level, at some point, it started to go sideways, and I did not really understand. And I think there's a lot of people in the situation that it's, yeah, in the same spot. And this is what I think happens, and this is why I think a lot of people divorce. This is why I think a lot of people can't, in the end, like, stand each other. So I want to dedicate this video to everyone out there that has gone through or are in or a breakup or a divorce or some sort of where it just came to an end, where it ended. It didn't seem to be able to go any further. And maybe you recognize yourself, then this video will be for you, because here is what I think happened and how it can be healed and prevented for the future. So I have a few different things to talk about, and the first thing that I really find to be true, and this is very a scientific place. There's been a lot of research about this. There is people working with people that has these problems, and it really functions, like it really works. This is really a thing, and it's called the attachment styles. Attachment styles is literally a way how you cope as a child to your mother and father, and dependent on what happened in your surrounding, you basically find the way to cope, and that's the way you do all of the relationships basically, or I would say in intimate close relationships. When you meet a partner and you go into a intimate, and you then after some time, I would say this comes not up in the beginning. You have a phase of like where everything is beautiful and like you're in this honeymoon phase, but when things stabilizes and when it comes towards real commitment and like long term, that's where this activates in both partners. And there's nothing really that is right or wrong in this. It just is. And both of the parts has a gift, which means that both of the parts has something to give the other one, and both of the parts has something to learn and grow out of. And because that was the state we were in as a child, and we don't know anything better, and that's why we subconsciously act out in this way. There is 4 different types, and you're supposed to aim towards one of them. It's called secure. Secure attachment styles is basically you come together with another secure person and you feel safe with that person. That's the end goal, and you can function together. You don't really trigger each other, and you're not imbalanced in any way. You feel safe with this person. But then you have the 3 other types, and these types has some sort of like trauma that has happened in the past, and therefore they picked up a behavior that helped them or helped you as a child when you needed it. And it maybe function at that time, but now when you grow up, you are going to attract often one of the opposite on the other side, and that will cause a friction between you that you don't really understand, because that one of the partner will trigger the things that you need to heal, and you will trigger things in the other person that he or she need to heal. So you have one of the others is anxious. You are anxious, and
this attachment styles means that there's a lot of anxiousness going on, and this person can be looked as needy, and he wants a lot of closeness, a lot of like focusing on that person's needs. They can act out that they're dependent on the other person. So that person will be dependent on you, or you, if you're anxious, you will be dependent on the other one to the degree that you're basically giving up most of the stuff and you just want to be dependent on your other partner. And then you have the avoidant, which is the opposite of this anxious. The avoidant is like a person that is very independent themselves, and they tend to push people away if they get too close. So when this needy person or like this dependent person comes on and want to be dependent on you, you as avoidant, you kind of like love to have the closeness that the anxious wants and like be close. You crave that. But when it gets too close, the way you learned is to basically be by yourself and push that thing away or that person away, where you just want to be independent. You just want to be with yourself. And that creates this dynamic where one wants to be really like dependent because that feels that this person is independent, and then this one wants the closeness, but when it comes to close, this one pushes away. And it creates this like on and off dynamic, which is not nice, to be honest. And I would say this is very generally. I'm just speaking. You can go in very much of depth, but that's not the intention of this video. And then you have the disorganized, which is me in this case. That's a mix between the anxious and the avoidant in two. So like at some time the disorganized people, they're like anxious and they want to be close, and then all of a sudden they want to push away. And to be honest, I really realized this in this relationship. I wouldn't admit it to myself because I knew that this stuff existed, but then I was like, nah, it's not me. No, it's not me. But now I realized that that was actually me. And this on pull and push dynamic went on, and in the end, we couldn't really stand each other. And that's where we kind of like split it up and like, this doesn't work. And then we were honest to each other. But it just comes down to realizing your own stuff and actually take yourself through this, because if these things are not fixed, if these things are not in place where you're secure, you're gonna just repeat the pattern with everyone you meet. And these things are hardwired, but it is possible to fix them. And I would say that I'm gonna dedicate my life to make sure that this cleans out of my system. Because in the bottom, we all want a functioning, really good relationship with someone where you experience life and you live life and through life with someone and not just by yourself. So that's one of the things that's, I think, very important. And I think this is one of the causes to this breakup. Then you have number 2. And here is karma. I believe that we have karma to each other in one way or the other, and many times you have to pay karma to someone, and sometimes the other person pay karma to you. And that's how we kind of like, we actually become really empowered by if we work through this. And then what I can see that we had karma and we work through it, and when the karma is done, that's where you kind of like, it just like automatically happens. And many times we have these thoughts and like, no, I failed, or it wasn't good, or whatever that was. Not true. In my hallucination, I think that you can even go and even you can meet someone and you can work off karma and you can have all of this stuff, and then later on it can even lead you to meeting this person at the right time, at the right point again, if that is meant to be. So it can even like, even if you're breaking up with someone, that person can come in later on and just, it could be amazing. But for that to happen, you need to solve the stuff in between. So karma is number 2. And as I see it, is that, this has happened so like literally with every single relationship that I ever had, Either I are the one that helps the other individual elevate, or the other person helps me elevate. There is not a single relationship that I had that this has happened. And I mean, this is not just in intimate relationships, this is also in relationships with friends and people around you. That's why it's so important to be with people and have the people around you that, yeah, they want good for you, but even bad situations can actually lead to better growth within your life. And when we enter these relationships, we will get tests. And I can clearly see that a lot of my tests this time that I passed many times, but it was really hard. It was to speak up what I really wanted and what I really needed. Because our wants and needs is more important than ever. And if the other person is not okay with your wants and needs, then I would say it's better to split up and then go out and do what is right for you. Because when you set your own wants and needs aside, that would just lead later on to you giving them an information about what your not your wants and needs are, and then you've been hiding them, and in the end when they actually come out, you'll be like, what? But I never thought that. So speaking your wants and needs and where you want to go and what you want to be doing clearly in the beginning, and if that is not resonating with the person, that's okay also. And then you're like, okay, there's another one out there somewhere. And both people should do this, because if that is not done, yeah, we have the result right now. Everything we do is literally moving you towards your higher self. So if you had problem with speaking up, well, practice that in front of a camera, in front of a person, to a partner. Many times it can be really hard to speak to a partner because you're very sensitive, and then you are scared to express your needs because when you were a child, your mother and father didn't really care about your needs maybe, and you have to take care of your own needs. And then it's very easy to build a belief that my needs are not important, therefore I am not important. And when I'm not important, then life is very a dark and hard place to be in. If this resonates with you, please subscribe to the channel. That would do a lot. Comment down below if there's something you're wondering about. See you in the next video.